and have you guys listen to what I'm about to share. First of all, credit goes to God for this story. I'm not so awesome. But I actually grew up in a Christian family, and I realized at a young age, like, I don't want to be a Christian. Like, I like God, He's awesome, and the Bible's really cool, but like this church stuff, I'm like, that's okay. My parents, you guys can be saints, like, I'll just be a good person. And I was really ambitious. I thought, okay, I'm from India actually, I don't know if you can tell. But I decided, like, I want to go abroad, I want to study, I was really ambitious, and I actually moved to New York. I was studying in SUNY Plattsburgh, which is way up near Buffalo, Vermont, near Vermont mostly. And for the summer, I was like, okay, I want to transfer. I didn't know much about America, so I was like, okay, I'll go there first to a state college and then get into a private art school. And so I did like painting and drawing, and I was like, okay, let me go to the new school, go to Parsons, see if I want to transfer there or go to like another private school. And that summer actually changed my life, because for some reason I went to all the church events with our church. My dad was like, okay, yeah, you can go there, but the only condition is you just have to stay with disciples. And I was like, that's pretty fair, you're helping me pay for this summer thing. So I'll happily stay with disciples. And I was so surprised when I hung out with disciples. Because like, I had friends who said they were Christians, but we would also party on the weekends and then go to church on Sunday. And I didn't make that connection that they were actually Christians. I just thought like it's a social thing. But I knew from my upbringing that I'm not a Christian if I'm not obeying the Bible. And that's why I didn't want to become one, because I knew I'd be lying to God and I can't hide from God. So I was like, I'd rather just live a life of sin and paganism than like lie to God and be in trouble with God and try to hide something from God. So that summer I went to what you guys have, like midweeks and church services and everything, and I was so surprised that no one was getting wasted and they were just having fun singing together and loving God. And I was just like, they're really nice. I like this group of people. I don't have to impress them with, if I'm doing drugs. I don't have to like be this cool person. I can just hang out with them. And I tried really hard not to cuss, because I used to cuss a lot, and I was like, I'm going to be sensitive. But I was just so shocked, because I was living in sin. And even when I was here, I had a boyfriend that I would visit, and when I was staying with disciples, there was a sister that was asked if she could stay the night in our apartment, because she was going to date with her boyfriend, and it was going to be late at night. And she didn't want to stay at his place or be out too late with him. She wanted to crash at our apartment. And I was like, why can't you sleep on his couch? Like, what's the big deal? She can be pure, right? She doesn't have to not stay at his house. But that really stuck with me. Like, she really wanted to have a pure relationship with her boyfriend, and because she loved God. And I was like, I've never seen that before. I wonder what that would be like. But anyway, after that, I just transferred actually from New York to Minneapolis. And before moving, it was my Christmas break. And I was like, my boyfriend was like, hey, do you want to do long distance? And I was like, I don't think it'll work. And he was like, yeah, it definitely won't work. And I was like, hoping he'd be like, yeah, let's do long distance. I'll fight for you. And he's like, you should take the scholarship. You should go. And I was like, yeah, totally. And I was like, okay, I never want to date again. I could probably do without drugs and alcohol. They're bad for me anyway. So maybe I'm ready to study the Bible now that I don't want to sin so much. Because like in my mind, it was just like, you can only not sin and then you can become a Christian. But when I studied the Bible, honestly, like it really transformed my life. Like I was so shocked to see like it's not about rules. It's about Jesus loving you like no one else has ever loved you before or ever will love you ever again. And when I studied about the cross, I was like, I'll do anything. I was just like, here's someone willing to give me a fresh start, a blank slate. Like, hey, Nadia, you can be new again. You can have a new life. All the stuff you're ashamed of or embarrassed about your past, you can be totally different. And I was like, what? I'll do anything, sign me up, what do I need to do? And that's when I really fell in love with God, and honestly my life has been like 50,000 times like better with God than it could have ever been without. It's so true that God always does more than we can ask or imagine, and it has been a life of surrender. Not of like, oh, I become a Christian to enhance my life. It's like I become a Christian to give up my life, and then you get a new life with God.
Yeah, come on.
And that's what I'm like the most grateful for. So I just wanted to share a verse with you, and then we can pray and then think about Jesus, because it's not about me, it's about what He's done for us. If you guys look at Isaiah 53, this was written 700 years before Jesus. And that also blows my mind. In Isaiah 53 it says, "Who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? He grew up before Him like a tender shoot, and like a root out of dry ground. He had no beauty or majesty to attract us to Him. Nothing in His appearance that we should desire Him. He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. Like one from whom people hide their faces, He was despised, and we held Him in low esteem. Surely He took up our pain and bore our suffering. Yet we considered Him punished by God, stricken by Him, and afflicted. But He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on Him, and by His wounds we are healed. We all, like sheep, have gone astray. Each of us has turned to our own way, and the Lord has laid on Him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet He did not open His mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silenced, He did not open His mouth. By oppression and judgment He was taken away. Yet who of His generation protested? For He was cut off from the land of the living. For the transgression of my people He was punished. He was assigned a grave with the wicked, and with the rich in His death, though He had done no violence, nor was any deceit in His mouth. Yet it was the Lord's will to crush Him and cause Him to suffer. And though the Lord makes His life an offering for sin, He will see His offspring and prolong His days, and the will of the Lord will prosper in His hand. After He has suffered, He will see the light of life and be satisfied. By His knowledge my righteous servant will justify many and will bear their iniquities." So let's just bow our heads and thank Jesus for what He's done for us. He's taken all the punishment away. He's taken all the sin away. And I just want you guys, like, if this is something you guys are thinking about, like, oh, should I study the Bible? Like, there's no one else who's ever going to love you or sacrifice even maybe 50% of what Jesus did for you. So let's pray.